Good afternoon. My name is Andrew Schaefer, and I have the privilege of serving as the president of the Association of Church Musicians. And on behalf of that organization, I wanted to welcome you all to our annual Ruth Pilger Andrews Scholarship Fundraiser concert. I encourage you, as you have time, to read about the life of Ruth Andrews and how her generous gift has enabled our organization to give out generous scholarships to students who are hoping to study organ. And as you are able, I hope that you will be moved to make a contribution today. You find the plate out in the back, in order to keep this wonderful scholarship fund alive and well, and to help us champion the King of Instruments here. Normally this concert has taken place in the Madison region, where a majority of our members are, but last year we did it in Monroe, and this year we're doing it here in Beloit. And this has been a really wonderful thing for us because we get to experience different venues and also highlight the talents of people in the area. And so I wanted to thank David and Beth and Max and Elaine for playing today, in particular, local folks here to Rock County. So thank you to the Rock County folks. I hope you'll all stay for a reception to greet one another and learn more about our organization. We have some wonderful suites available in the narthex after the program. Because there's a lot of organists coming on and off the bench, we will have some commentary by Mr. Stancer, and you'll see organists adjusting the benches and adjusting the music racks and playing with the computer and things like that. So I appreciate your patience as we all do this. Wanted to thank a few other folks for making this wonderful event possible. First of all, to you in the audience for coming and supporting us. Also wanted to thank the wonderful people here at First Congregational Church for their hospitality, and especially to Max Yant for his patience dealing with 10 organists traipsing in over the course of the last few weeks. He's been readily available for our needs, and so we thank you, Max. And then finally to Deb Kraus-Smith for putting together today's program. It was a lot of work. So without further ado, I will introduce Ken Stancer.
Thank you, Andrew. So the first piece this afternoon is going to be performed by Dr. Andrew Schaefer of Luther Memorial Church in Madison. And it is a work called March for a Joyous Occasion. The composer, Conrad Sousa, was very prolific, known especially for the theater and operatic stage music, and taught composition for over 20 years at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music. Sousa credited his initial interest in music from listening to Gregorian chants as an altar boy. He went on to earn degrees from Carnegie Mellon and Juilliard, where he studied with William Bergsma and Vincent Persichetti, later landing a job as the composer in residence at the Old Globe Theater in San Diego. His compositional style is decidedly eclectic, often drawing inspiration from Baroque, tango, and jazz. He composed March for a Joyous Occasion for a wedding processional. It is published by E.C. Schirmer. The hymn, Out of the Depths I Cry to You, is based on Psalm 130, one of Scripture's many lament psalms. Bach's chorale prelude, Aus tiefer Not schrei ich zu dir, based on this hymn, is from the third part of the Klavierübung, or keyboard practice. It is distinctive, having 6 voices, and 2 of those voices played by the feet in the pedal. The double pedaling serves as an expressive purpose in emphasizing the psalmist's extreme grief. The chorale melody is presented, each line of the hymn separately, in long notes in the upper pedal voice. Each of these presentations of a hymn line in the pedal upper voice is preceded by activity in the other 5 voices that usually includes a statement, often modified, of the chorale melody. These techniques result in a masterful compositional achievement, as well as extraordinary music to listen to, with the elaborate counterpoint producing rich harmonies. And today, this is played by Paul Finger of Madison. We're very pleased this afternoon to have a student organist on our program, David Devine of Janesville, and David studies with Dr. Max Yount. He is a senior this year in high school, and he will be playing How Fair and Pleasant Art Thou, which is from the 15 pieces founded on antiphons by French organist and composer Marcel Dupré. Dupré, also known for his improvisatory skills, wrote 15 pieces in 1919 after first playing them as improvisations during a Vespers service for the Feast of the Assumption at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. How Fair and Pleasant Art Thou comes from this set and is based on the Song of Solomon, the 7th chapter, the 6th verse. Jacques Bovin was appointed organist of the Rouen Cathedral in 1674, a position he retained until his death. He published 2 collections of organ works, the first of which was Premier Livre d'Orgue, published in about 1690. Today's performance by Dr. Beth Yount, organist at St. Paul's Episcopal Church here in Beloit, includes short pieces from Book 1, based on the first tone, D Dorian mode. This sampling of pieces shows a variety of colors and styles typical of Bavoin's works from this period. Bavoin's collections blended pieces grounded in the older polyphonic tradition with more operatic settings, featuring solo reed melodies underpinned by a more homophonic accompaniment. Registrations are colorful and often loud, with the music intended to be played during Mass as a sort of soundtrack for the liturgical movements proceeding in the chancel. It also entertained parishioners who attended services that could sometimes be up to 3 hours long.
When the sun shines, you can't see. So we're going to just get the cancel and look in there.
I hope I can do a good enough job on all of these notes. This is all mostly from Max, so I hope I can share his thoughts as he intends. We have some very special and personal program notes about the next piece, Buxtehude's Preludium in E minor, from Dr. Max Yount, organist and music director here at First Congregational and emeritus professor and former chair of the Department of Music at Beloit College. Max writes, "Some of us have a good friend in Heinrich Walter from Germany. When I reported to him that I was preparing the Preludium in E minor and finding it quite a challenge, Heinrich responded in full glow that if Bach hadn't come along, this Preludium and de Grigny's Veni Creator Spiritus on the other side, meaning, I suppose, French, would be the pinnacle of Baroque organ music. Such enthusiasm. Formidable as this intense E minor Preludium is, I am not sure it is to be crowned as the one. Other pieces come to mind, and we remember enjoying Robert Everson's performance a year ago in a row of the sparkling Preludium in D major by Buxtehude. We have no autographs of Buxtehude's organ works. They all come to us in copies or copies of copies by the many people who traveled to Lübeck in North Germany to hear and study with him between 1668 and 1707 at the Marienkirche. Not only that, these sources are all in German organ tablature or some such needing to be deciphered form, accounting for differences in readings of any piece and discernible mistakes. So the study and publication of Buxtehude's works has been a rich field of musicology. In learning this Preludium, I decided to make use of the one volume that I own of the edition edited by Joseph Hedar in 1952, therefore current when I was in college, but Heinrich, willing to share his enthusiasm, sent me the copy of his score in the Klaus Beckmann edition of 1995, the usual latest for most of us. However, Heinrich's score is copiously marked as a result of his personal consultation with the most recent scholar in Buxtehude's editions, Dr. Michael Bellotti. I tend to play pieces from all of the editions, back to Spitta's and Seifert's, originating in the 19th century, forming my own opinions of the readings that I like most. Much mystery remains in the processes by which this wonderful music came to us.
good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you to those who have played already. This has been wonderful. My name is Michael Mills. I am the 2015 beneficiary of the Ruth Pilgers Andrews Scholarship Fund. And so at this time, we will be receiving a free will offering to benefit the Scholarship Fund. There is also a basket at the entrance for donations. You'll see the ushers coming forward here as I give you just a couple more notes. If you write a check, please make it payable to ACM, the Association of Church Musicians, with Scholarship Fund in the memo line. The Ruth Pilger Andrews Fund was established by the ACM in 1996 with a generous bequest from the estate of Ruth Pilger Andrews. One of the founding members of the Madison chapter of the American Guild of Organists and a distinguished Madison organist and teacher of organ. The fund was declared active in 2003 with the endowment being augmented by additional donations and annual recital benefits like the one you've enjoyed today. The scholarship is available to any Wisconsinite of any age pursuing some kind of organ study. Applications are reviewed by ACM's Scholarship Committee and awarded on a quarterly basis. The first scholarship was awarded in 2012, and since that time, 25 scholarships of varying amounts have helped students begin or further their study of the organ. For me personally, this scholarship was important because when I was studying the organ back in 2012 to 2015 with one of our colleagues, Linda Kruger, for a long time was my organ teacher here. This scholarship was a sign to me that I had the trust and the support of a wonderful group and a family of artists, of professionals, and people who minister to their congregations and our beloved art for their living. And as a high school student, I had a variety of opportunities, as any young person does today. And for me to choose the path as a minister of music, as an organist professionally, is a big jump. If you go to your high school counselor as a senior and say, yeah, I'm thinking about music performance, they'll probably go cross-eyed and ask what that is, and then see if you, they'll probably follow that up with, well, do you play a sport? You know. But for me, the choice was rather simple. Organ is what I love doing. Listening to a congregation sing on Sunday morning is what I love doing, and I'm so privileged to be able to do that now, back in my home, here in Wisconsin at Immaculate Heart of Mary Parish. And it's because of people like those who have performed for you this morning, because of my teacher, Linda Kruger, who follows in Ruth's tradition of passing on this art so beautifully and well, that we are all gathered here today. And it's that same hope and that same support that I hope, David, you've experienced in your studies, and all of the students of Ken, and everyone who's taught here. So that's why this fund is important, that's why the association is important, and that's why most surely our art is not dead. Thank you all for coming this afternoon, and we'll continue.
Thank you, Michael, for your words and for the testimonial. Our program will continue now with a dance song tune from the 16th century composed by Giovanni Giacomo Gastoldi. The melody eventually became the tune used for a hymn found in many hymnals, In der ist Freude, or In Thee is Gladness. Two distinct settings of the tune are here presented. The first is in a jazz idiom by the German organist Johann Matthias Michael. Prominent are Afro-Cuban rhythms and the song America from Leonard Bernstein's West Side Story. Michael dedicated his composition to Leonard Bernstein. The second arrangement is a lilting dance-like setting by Kevin Hildebrand, a present-day active composer of choral, organ, and other instrumental music. He serves as an instructor in liturgics and church music and cantor at Concordia Theological Seminary and cantor at St. Paul's Lutheran Church, both in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Both pieces are played today by Elaine Uffenbach of Christ Lutheran Church in Clinton. We are very pleased to have a previous recipient of the Ruth Pilger Andrews Organ Scholarship, Michael Mills, who spoke to you earlier. And he is a native of Lodi, Wisconsin, and currently Director of Sacred Music at Immaculate Heart of Mary Catholic Church in Monona. He will be playing Offertoire sur le Grand Jeu by François Couperin, a French organist, composer, and harpsichord. The piece is from one of the organ masses, which were included in Couperin's Pieces d'Orgue, published in 1690. The organ masses are a collection of brief organ interludes which alternate with Gregorian chant during the singing of the Mass. Alexandra Guimont was an organist, recitalist, and musicologist who composed prolifically for the organ. His flamboyant and popular Sonata No. 1, Opus 42 from 1874 was reworked in 1878 into a symphony for organ and orchestra. The brilliant and toccata-like finale follows an ABA coda form with a contrasting chorale-like B section and a dazzling ending, which today will be performed by T. Jared Stelmacher, organist, music director at Good Shepherd Lutheran in Madison and Verona. Thank you all again for the gift of your presence and your gift of financial support to our work. And again, a thank you to Max Yount and the Congregational Church here for hosting us and all of our wonderful performers. Let's give them all a big round of applause. So do stay and join us at the back for a reception. We'd be glad to visit with you all. Thank you.